It was on December 24, 1865, 30 years before the founding of Faith Presbyterian Church, and 100 years to the day of the congregation's historic merger with First Presbyterian, that this notorious white supremacist organization was founded in Pulaski, Tennessee. Its name, the Ku Klux Klan. Formed as a backlash to the demise of the Confederacy, by 1871 it would fade into the background due to U.S. government pressure, only to reemerge during the 1920s, aided by the well-known support of the nation's own president, Woodrow Wilson. In the years leading up to the Roaring Twenties, lynching of Black Americans by the KKK had become so widespread in the South that in 1909, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, was formed in New York City, with anti-lynching being its central agenda. By the end of the 1920s, the KKK would, once again, recess from public view until its reemergence in the 1950s due to the rise of the growing civil rights movement. Over the years, York County would become known as home to one of the most active Ku Klux Klan groups in all of Pennsylvania. As Jim Crow laws were unabashedly being practiced in York County, Faith Presbyterian Church called its ninth pastor in 1928. Born in Georgetown, British Guiana, and the maternal grandfather of First Presbyterian member Elaine Carr, Reverend Thomas E. Montooth attended high school in New York City, graduated from Lincoln University in 1912, and became a naturalized citizen in 1925. Being ordained as a Presbyterian minister, he served two congregations in Virginia before beginning his 10-year ministry at Faith only a year before the Great Depression hit. Having a deep concern for the Black residents of York, in 1931, Montooth would join Dr. George Bowles, former president of Faith Presbyterian's Community House, in forming what is now the nationally acclaimed York Crispus Attucks Association. Nonetheless, albeit a notable accomplishment on its own, this is not what Reverend Thomas E. Montooth is best known for. Rather, it was his ardent civil rights activism. When he first arrived in York, he made it clear, quote, "If you are not willing to stand up for civil rights, you should step aside and get out of the way of those who are ready and willing to move," unquote. While short and slim in stature and characterized by some as having a compelling voice laced with a distinct Caribbean accent, Thomas Montooth is recognized as one of York's earliest giants in regard to those who have faithfully fought for the civil rights of all, and in particular, the city's Black community. Numerous times he would advocate for Black residents who were unlawfully arrested or charged. Eventually, he would become the president of the local NAACP chapter, established in 1944. In 1947, he was famously known for filing discrimination charges against the owner and an employee of a local restaurant for not serving him simply because he was Black. The case eventually would go to a grand jury. But in spite of the fact that two York City police officers were called to witness on Montooth's behalf, and that he was represented by the district attorney himself, the jury did not find the two defendants guilty of violating the state equal rights law. Instead, the jurists threw the case out and placed court costs upon Montooth himself. Disappointed but not deterred, Thomas Montooth later released a public statement in which he asserted his determination to defend his civil rights, stating, "Should I encounter any infringement of my civil rights or privileges, I shall again seek legal justice in the manner provided by law." As time would show, Thomas E. Montooth did, in fact, continue standing up for his own as well as the civil rights of all York citizens up until his death in October 1977, at the age of 91. His funeral service was officiated by First Presbyterian Associate Pastor Leary Chase in the John Calvin Chapel, and he was appropriately laid to rest alongside many of Faith Presbyterian's charter members and others in what is now the well-known and historic Black Lebanon Cemetery.
When Jesus washed, oh, when he washed, when Jesus washed, he washed my sins away.